Welcome once again to Jazz Lockdown, the program that puts our regular panellists of Pete Long, Alan Barnes and Alex Garnett to the test. You're invited to donate as little as £1 towards each show, which will be equally divided between the contributors, with 50% of the total amount going to Macmillan Cancer Support, by following the PayPal link below. Chaired by Alyn Shipton, this episode's special guest is Alex Ridout.
Well, welcome everybody to the final episode of the second series of Jazz Lockdown, and I'm delighted that for this episode we've got a very special guest with us. We have BBC Young Jazz Musician of the Year 2016. We have the trumpeter and wonderful person Alex Ridout.
Yeah!
We also have some other special guests with us today because instead of the usual team we have Colonel Long.
Howdy!
We have Centurion Garnett hiding behind his visor.
Lovely!
And we have Sherlock Barnes.
Hello there.
So, Sherlock, we'll start with you. And this question is, with whom did you pay tribute to Cannonball in a session from Wakefield in 2000?
Well, that was the recently sadly departed Don Weller. We had a sextet.
Yeah, you did indeed, the CD Cannonball on ASC Records. Now, which trumpeter popped up in Manhattan with you and Dave Newton?
That was Conti Candoli.
That's excellent. And there's a little bonus question for you, Alan, on this. What pops up in the cover picture of that album that you wouldn't see today?
This album cover was actually in an exhibition about the attack on America. It's the Twin Towers.
Yep, the Twin Towers are there, but they weren't by the time that I got my copy of the album.
That's right, yeah. I think that's the reason it's sold.
Alex Garnett, your question's next. In whose big band did you appear at the 2015 proms alongside Elaine Delmar and Claire Teal?
Was that the Battle of the Big Bands? I'm
was
guessing.
indeed.
And I think I remember that my band leader was Winston Rollins.
Brilliantly remembered. Well done. And where did you end up fusing with Julian Joseph, the Mondesi brothers, and Steve Williamson?
Oh, wow. Now that takes me back to 1983, I believe, to the Weekends Art College. Or possibly more unfortunately known WAC, which meant something different in those days. Yeah, that's right. In Gospel Oak, I think, it was run by Ian Carr, no less.
Indeed, yeah. And actually called the London Fusion Orchestra.
The LFO. The LFO, yeah. Elephant.
Now, Pete, question for you. Which trumpeter appears as a centurion, not Alex, with red plumes?
Trumpeter with centurion with red plumes, that will be Louis Dowdeswell.
Yeah, and can you explain the reference?
The reference is I did an album of Holst's Planets arranged in the style of Billy Strayhorn, like he did the Nutcracker for Ellington. And I had a go at it anyway. It's a big mountain to climb. And in Holst's Planets, the planets have characters. So Mars is the bringer of war. And for extra camp fun, as I enjoy a bit of extra camp fun, got the fellas to all dress up in costumes for their roles. So we have a lovely picture of Louis with the Centurion's helmet, Jim Davison as Mercury with a big pair of wings on. So it's loads and loads of fun. And I think we did 2 gigs and we sold 90 albums. So a massive British jazz success.
Well done. Well, let's bring you on to the next one. At last year's EFG London Jazz Festival, where would we have heard Ian McKenzie having a bit of a Nelson Riddle?
Pride Street, obviously, but earlier on that evening, on the stage at the Cadogan Hall with the orchestra would be exactly where you'd hear him do that.
Yeah, and he was swinging with some strings, I believe.
He really was.
Right. Alexander Ridout, in 2017, whose sweet sister were you working with?
That would have been Kenny Wheeler.
Yeah, but it was a particular band, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it was with the European Radio Jazz Orchestra.
Yeah, up in Scotland with Mr. Tommy Smith, I think.
Tommy Smith, yeah.
And there was one other RAM alumnus and now a Radio 3 New Generation artist in that band. Who was that?
That was Rob Luft.
Yeah, guitarist Rob Luft. Very good. Right, we're now coming on to the round called Old and New. And this will be a mixture of old jazz questions and somewhat more recent jazz questions. So let's start with you, Pete. Which Ellingtonian trumpeter gave Bud Powell his first job in a name band?
Ellingtonian trumpeter gave Bud Powell. Whew. So it's going to be an Ellingtonian trumpet player from around 1942, 43, isn't it?
Yes, who had just been with somebody else's band, rather controversially.
Was it Cootie Williams?
It was. And I wonder, knowing that you're so familiar with these records, if you could tell me who played alto saxophone in that band with Cootie and Bud.
Oh, I haven't got a clue. Russell Procope?
No, not an Ellingtonian at all, and not somebody you expect to be alongside Cootie and Bud. Anybody else know?
Is it
Earl Warren?
No, it was
Eddie
Eddie
Carter?
Kinghead Vinson.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, of course. Wow.
Of course. So, Pete, you've got a bonus here. You can pull back a point. Whose son subbed for Sam Woodyard on drums in the Ellington band and played with inspired abandon with Lawrence Brown?
Whose son
Yeah.
subbed on drums? Subbed
Yeah.
on drums. So it's not Sonny Greer, is it?
No, we're a
Because
bit more recent than that. Alan's got the answer on his cuff. He's just been...
Oh, no, I'm just swatting flies away, Alan.
Louis Belson?
No. Anybody else know who this was?
They didn't sub either.
It was Johnny Hodges Jr.
Oh,
Oh.
Oh. Alex Garnett. Whose squids are finger-licking good?
Say that again?
Whose squids are finger-licking good?
Squids.
Just think of squids and finger-licking.
Oh, that's Michael Brecker again,
Yep.
I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the album Don't Stop the Music.
Early stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Which keyboard player was in Steps Ahead and Dreams with Mike Brecker and a top session musician until he died from cancer in 1996?
Is that Mike Minieri?
No.
Oh, I beg your pardon. It's Don Grolnick.
Yeah, Don Grolnick. Well done. Now, which bass player was pulled out of class at college by Randy Brecker and asked to join Dreams and now leads the Beatles tribute band, the Fab Four, which he founded in 1998? Dreams was his first big gig because he was obviously...
Yeah, I'm trying to pull myself back to that band. I can't remember who the bass player was, to be honest. It's
Anybody else know?
don't know.
It's Will Lee.
Was he the guy wearing the dungarees?
I thought they all wore dungarees in that band at the time
I'm trying to remember the picture.
as his visor slips.
You got the answers on the back of the visor. I know that game.
So, Alex R., which trumpeter had a long wait for an album, also made in London, in this case, in 2012?
Kenny Wheeler.
Yeah, that's right. It's The Long Waiting, and our mutual friend Nick Smart is in the lineup on that album.
Yeah.
Which jazz colony is in Stockton? And I don't mean the one at the other end of the line from Darlington.
The Brubeck Institute.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And now this is a difficult one. Whose last album, issued the year after he died, was On the Way to Two?
Whose last album? I'm not sure. I can't.
Anybody else know? It's Kenny Wheeler again, and it was a duo with John Taylor, which came out after Kenny died. In fact, it'd been recorded in 2007, but never released.
Oh, I see.
Kenny banging on the wall we can hear to try and feed you the answer.
Yeah.
I think Banging the Wall is here because it's my granddaughter's 4th birthday party going on in the garden.
Oh, right. So it's your very easily mistaken for Kenny Wheeler. I do apologise.
Yeah, it's probably balloons.
Mark was practicing.
It's the drum solo.
Anyhow, Alan, which British tenor player, who also worked with Ambrose, appeared on all Ken Snakehips Johnson's broadcasts and recordings and later became a respected teacher in London?
Oh, Christ. Snake Hips Johnson. Now, he was the one who was killed, wasn't he, in the war?
Yeah, this guy wasn't playing with them the night that the Café de Paris took the hit. And he also mainly worked with Ambrose.
Mainly worked with Ambrose. Oh, Poggy Pogson.
No, I thought you might say that.
Not Harry Hayes, he was alto. I'm running out. These
Think
are,
about teaching in London for a very long time.
Don Rendell, no.
Anybody else know? Alex might know this one.
Teaching in London.
It's not Stan Saltzman, was it?
No, I'll put you out of your misery. It's Aubrey Frank.
Oh,
Christ, yeah.
Which racing driving Belgian did Aubrey play with during World War II?
Racing driver.
Yep.
I'm trying to go through my list of Belgian racing drivers.
Well, go to your list of Belgian trumpeters. It's probably a bit shorter.
Okay, I'm not sure I've got any of those either.
This is one of Max Jones's favourite bands.
Oh, Christ. I've not got a very good list of Max Jones's favourite bands either.
We didn't have many.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Belgian trumpets. Rolf Eriksson, no, it's not. He's from Sweden. No, I don't know.
Anybody else know?
no.
Had a band called the Clay Pigeons?
Oh, Johnny Clays.
I'll give you a half point for that.
All right.
Yeah,
Took a
Johnny
while.
Clay. Which American tenor saxophonist, Alan, wrote the book and lyrics for the Broadway musical Beg, Borrow or Steal, including the hit song Zen is When, which was later recorded by Dave Brubeck?
Right, now what did he play, this chap?
He was a tenorist.
Tenorist.
Tenor saxophone. Didn't write the music. He wrote the book and lyrics for this Broadway musical, Beg, Borrow or Steal, and that included the song Zen is When.
Then he's right now. That's got to be one of the... Let's think. It's not Charles Lloyd, is it?
No, it's a really surprising one, if anybody knows it. Anybody know?
It's not Benny Golson, is it?
No, it was Bud Freeman.
What the hell? I would never have got there.
Great title.
Right. I had no idea, actually. And I published his autobiography, and he keeps very discreetly quiet about that in the book. But
Wow.
Right. Alex, it's Alexandra, it's your solo round now. So you've got to match the leading scores of 10 that we've had earlier in this second series of the competition. So let's see how you do. Everybody else is taking great sighs of relief and sitting back.
Come on.
Finding more flies to swat. And so, Alex, here we go. So you won the BBC Young Jazz Musician Contest in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Last competition, the winner was Zoza Cole, but which two runners-up came from the Royal Academy of Music?
Seth Tackerberry and Ruben Goldmark.
Yeah, well done. And which saxophone finalist in your year plays in a band called Gecko?
Oh, Tom Smith.
Which jazz musician has a handle on jazz?
My brother.
Yeah, you're just going to explain that?
He's doing a project which is he plays recorder, so it's kind of like Handel but mixed with jazz. To be honest, I haven't seen him do it because I've been in America, so I've only seen publicity about it. But yeah.
Yeah, with two other Academy alumni, with Billy Marrows on guitar and Flo Moore on bass.
Yeah.
Where would you find a top dog enjoying a foxy trot?
On Clark's album, No Doubt.
Now, which bassist has a trio with Will Barry and Jay Davis?
Which bassist? It's not Joe Downard, is it?
No.
Is it?
Think Royal Academy and think the year before Flo. It's Daisy George.
Oh, of course, yeah, I knew that, sorry.
Which ex-Jazz Messenger received the Grammy Award for Best Large Jazz Ensemble Album in January?
Brian Lynch.
Well done. Which drummer from the Purcell School recently returned from her studies at Berkeley with Ralph Peterson?
Jazz Kaser.
Yeah. Who were the two members of the band Suburban Gorillas, led by Andrea Vicari in 1994, who played guitar and soprano saxophone?
My parents.
Yeah. Who'll be joining you and Sean Payne in a drummer-led sextet next year?
Daniel Hyam.
Yep. And which young pianist should really play hard rock?
Noah Stoneman.
Yeah, well, he was also a BBC Young Jazz Musician of the Year finalist when he was about 9 or something.
Yeah, he was only 15. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Right, well, you've scored 9 in that round, which is really good. Well done. Put you in place. Fantastic. Right, we now come to the really complicated part of this, which is just a lockdown, where you are going to speak for a minute without hesitation, deviation or repetition, which is quite a mouthful to remember. I'd take my hat off Nicholas Parsons for all the times that he said that over the years. I think we'll start with Alan this time. Alan, could you talk for 1 minute on the subject of instrument repairers, starting now?
Instrument repairers come into 2 distinct categories: those who know what they're doing and the ones who haven't got a clue. I often used to go and see Alex's dad, Willie Garnett, who was generally thought to be the top man. And indeed, a visit to his workshop wasn't just pleasurable for getting your horn repaired, but for all the remarkable things that could happen. Often you were offered a sprint.
Pete, what would that be?
That'd be a repetition of often.
I think you might just be right there.
I was wrong as well. He always offered you a whiskey.
There's no wonder after a visit to my dad's place.
Yeah, right, the day off.
Right, you've got the subject of instrument repairers starting now.
I completely concur with Alan that the king of instrument repairers for our section of the business was indeed Alex's dad, Willie. A visit to his house in Sutherland Gardens in Maida Vale would often be eventful, as you'd be shown into the basement flat through the kitchen, where there'd be a huge cauldron of curries cooking, where Willie would proudly announce the fact that the Rangoon ring stinger was really nearly ready. And then you'd be shown into the saxophone repair room. I had a bent soprano once, and I was...
Well, we don't have to hear about that.
Well, I was sent out of the room. He said, I'll straighten that out for you, son. And I was sent out of the room. And then I just heard, bong!
The number 9 mallet in the garden.
Yeah. And he was known for doing that. And it was straight as a die. I mean, his aim was tremendous. So let's have a round of applause for Willie Garnett, actually.
Did he give you the Lefroy anaesthetic before that happened?
Oh, man.
Yes, of course.
Right, Pete, it's your subject now, something dear to your heart, I'm sure. The subject, if you could talk for a minute on this, is record collectors, starting now.
I remember our dear colleague Alan Barnes here telling me about a fabulous incident he had at the Panshanger Jazz Club with a record collector. Alan had just played O Privave, a what? Yeah.
Yep.
I'm repeating it.
Repetition of Alan, yep.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Barnes, you have it starting now.
Record collectors often get the titles of the albums they're seeking wrong. In Ray's shop in central London, they used to have a list of people that had been asked for, including New Set of Teeth for Yusef Lateef, Sid James in Germany for St. James Infirmary.
Very good. Repetition of James.
Oh, God.
Very subtle. Yeah.
Without it.
I was looking forward to the rest of these.
Well, you can have it back. I mean, it's only a game. You can have it back if you like.
You've got it now, so well
Sid
done.
James in Germany.
Back to,
Have you got any more?
Yeah, I'll have to think of them.
Yeah,
well, the obvious ones, The Loneliest Monk, you know.
Well, we'll come back to those in a minute, but Pete, you've got the subject now, so back to you, starting now.
And Alan's record collecting gripper at Panshanger Jazz Club was...
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's a certain amount of panzangering going on there.
There was. My pans were hung.
Right, Alan, you got it back.
Oh,
so
right.
starting now.
The proprietor of that... Yeah?
Yeah.
Probably a very cruel interjection with hesitation there.
Yeah. Okay, Alex. you got it now.
Specifically, it was Arkwright syndrome, wasn't it? Proprietor.
Right, Alex Garnett, you have it now. So record collectors starting now.
Record collectors come in all shapes and sizes, but those that annoy me the most are the type that will arrive at a gig and try to sell me bootleg tapes, copies, burnt CDs of the aforesaid item. I remember once being on a gig.
Oh, well done.
Good, very good.
And having, do you remember rotund Roy, I'll put to put it nicely, coming up and shoving some. Hey, have you heard this latest record by the Ted whatever it is? You've never heard of him. I've got a tape for you. You give you a tape or a copy of it, and you say, "Oh, thanks, Roy," and then he sort of shuffle nervously and say, "They cost me £1 a throw, you know. Get me a pint of Coca-Cola or something like that as a drink, and the pint of Coke would be a £5."
That's the way it goes. Bootleg market. Right. Alex Garnett, it's your turn now.
Okay.
So this is one, I think we have all experienced this. It is finding a parking space. So if you'd like to talk about finding a parking space, starting now.
Finding a parking space can be the make or the break of getting to a gig and enjoying yourself. I myself don't seem to suffer this too badly because arriving is not a problem. As a saxophonist, I can take my instrument on public transport and get there feeling nice and relaxed without having to have driven around for the past 45 minutes. On the other hand, other members of the group...
Mr. Barnes.
Have we had other hand before?
We have actually.
Oh!
Right. Well, we've had hand. So I think you can pick that one up. So, Alan, if you'd like to talk about finding a parking space, starting now.
Imagine my surprise when I was moaning one day in a bar about trying to find a parking space, and a person at the bar said to me, "You know what?"
Yeah. Repetition of bar.
Yep. Pete, you have the subject. We hope to hear the rest of this a bit later. But Pete, if you could talk about finding a parking space, starting now.
The champion parking space finder was a saxophone player called Dick Blewett, and we all had a thing called the syndrome named after him.
Repetition of
Oh, you bugger, you're absolutely right.
Right.
But
It's irrelevant. It's a repetition. Right. Pitch is, of course, not always irrelevant.
No more.
Alan, you're racist out today, mate.
Right, Alan, you've got 9 seconds on finding a parking space, starting now.
The advice I was given that day in the drinking establishment was ask the parking fairy and you will be rewarded every time. Well, the next day...
The parking fairy?
Yeah, you try it. You as you approach the gig, ask the parking fairy for a space and bugger me every time there's one there.
Well, that was the Dick Blewett thing. It was karmic. He'd say, "No, we'll park outside the stage door. We got time to stop for a pint." And he'd be going, "No, in a quarter of an hour." And point, always in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Always.
I was always told, as you know, having that large instrument to lug about, drive as close to the gig as you can and you'll be lucky. And it's 99% of the time it's true.
Wow.
So motion carried. The gig fairy is real.
Oh, it's real, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
You have to say spell to it, but it's fine.
Now,
I think he hangs about outside the Spice of Life, doesn't he?
Somebody had to do it, didn't they?
right, we're going to move on. Alex, you've been
Mr. Un-PC.
you've been nicely postponed with all the fairies, but now it's time for you to talk on your subject, which is playing in a big band. And my stopwatch has just decided to go to sleep. So playing in a big band, starting now.
So playing in a big band is a really good way to get together and perform different... Oh, no, it's all good.
I think Alan got the squeak in first. He's doing really well. Right.
That was terrible.
Alan, playing in a big band. See if Alex can get it back off you now. Right. Playing in a big band, Alan, starting now.
Playing in a big band requires a different set of skills to performing in a small ensemble. Primarily amongst these is an ability to play and phrase in a section.
Oh, no. It was playing and play, so I got it wrong. Sorry.
I think we'll not put points either way on that. So, Alan, if you carry on, please, now.
I remember sitting next to Roy Willocks, and a young saxophonist in the section asked him about the particular way some notes were going to be played, and he said, "I will perform those little dots on the page."
Pete, what would that possibly be, that challenge?
That was once again a slight onset of Arkwright syndrome.
Yes. More little notes than we were expecting.
Yeah.
Right.
That's probably just how he said it, though.
Yeah, that may well be true. But in that case, a bit of repetition never goes amiss. Okay. Would you like to carry on, please, Pete?
Not much, but here we go. All right.
Yeah.
The lockdown has drastically changed the nature of playing in a big band, because in the old days of the Empire, we would play together in a big band in one room, all in one space. Bugger. I was making a good point there as well. There we are.
I think we'll give this one back to Alex Ridout. You have 30 seconds starting now.
One of the greatest things about playing in
I thought you said 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Sorry, a half a second.
Oh.
No way.
0.30. That was my inability to read metric.
This point 3. Oh my goodness.
Alyn Shipton, just out of interest, are you jotting everything we say down in shorthand or something?
No, just jotting down the marks. Look, you know.
No. But I'm just wondering how you must have it as like a big ear, Jodrell Bank or something.
Yeah, but I don't
Beg your pardon?
have to think about computing. I can just listen to what you're saying.
It's fiendish.
There
Excellent.
we are. Well, talking about listening to what you're saying, we get to the quickfire round now. So this is the moment when currently lying in equal third place, the two Alexes have a chance to pull themselves up on the other two. So let's see how we do. Right. Some of these questions you may have an inkling about, but let's see how we go. So, which bagpipe-toting American regularly appeared at
Rufus Harley.
Yeah, Rufus Harley, well done. What was the nickname of Ellington's drummer, Rufus Jones?
Speedy.
Well done. Speedy Acquet arrived in London in the late 50s and went on to play with Scott, Hayes, Graham and many others before a long relationship with Georgie Fame. What did he play?
Bongos.
Yep. Or percussion generally, but bongos were certainly in the set.
A bongo solo, my lord.
Yes. Art Blakey's double album Holiday for Skins featured 7 percussionists and 2 fellow drummers. Who were the other 2 drummers?
God.
Max Roach.
Was it Elvin Jones?
Nope.
Philly Joe Jones?
Yep, Philly Joe is one of them. Who's the other one?
Oh,
Roy Haynes.
Nope. Lived in Paris for a bit, had a slinky little moustache.
Kenny Clark.
Art Taylor.
Art Taylor. Well done, Pete. Right, there was one horn player on that recording. Who was it?
Jackie McLean.
Nope. Think brass. Holiday for Skins, 1 brass player. It's Donald Byrd.
Oh.
What was Donald Byrd's full name?
Oh.
Donald Arthur Asquith Byrd.
Donald
Very
Chicken.
close, but it was actually Donald Toussaint Louverture Byrd II.
Oh, of course.
Obviously,
Silly
they
me.
liked it first time round so much that they had to do it again. Right. In 1962, Charlie Byrd and Stan Getz introduced bossa nova and smooth jazz to the world with which album?
Jazz Samba.
Samba.
I think Alan just edged that one. Bossa Nova Jazz Samba was a recording made the same year by Bud Shank and which pianist formerly with the Hi-Lows?
Clare Fisher.
Yep, Claire Fisher. Anybody know Claire Fisher's first name?
Oh, no.
Claire.
Is it
Second name?
Donald?
No, it's one of those really common names in jazz. He was called Douglas.
Oh.
Right. Which Fisher from Manchester recorded with Harry
Tony
James on this?
Fisher.
Well done, that was quick. Which Tony recorded duets with Bill Evans?
Tony Bennett.
Tony Bennett. Tony Evans.
I think our guest just got that one in quickly enough. Tony Bennett recorded an album of duets with pop singers. Who was his partner on Lady is a Tramp?
Lady Gaga.
Gaga.
Yeah, Alan just edged that one in. Lady Day was the name given to Billie Holiday by which musician?
Lefty Young.
Yeah, Pete, well done. Which of the Ridout family plays drums?
Lester.
Lester Ridout.
Yes, we were looking for young Lester, but I think, that would go very well. Right. What's the
They're not
current
making
jazz
any
venue?
more, are they, your parents?
Sorry?
Are they making any more musicians? Because
I
if they
find
carry
that-
on like they are, we're all going to be out of a bloody job. Tell them to stop.
They've definitely stopped. I wouldn't worry about that.
Well, it's like the Marsalises. We need a trombone player now.
Nah,
Complete set.
A step too far there, Alan.
I don't think we need that.
No,
Well,
look, yeah.
Yes, I forgot there are no trombone players in this series so far. Right. What's one of the current jazz venues in Leicester called?
Leicester.
Well,
We're
it's Montfort Hall.
Jazz
Does
House.
that count?
Jazz House.
Jazz House?
Well, there's Jazz House and there's the Montfort Hall. I wasn't looking for either of those, actually. It's a jazz club. No, it's called The Musician.
Oh.
That one.
Yeah,
Um,
look at that.
Oh, there's another venue, guys.
No wonder we haven't been there.
Which leads me on neatly to, can you name any one of the four members of Musician?
Oh, Christ, yes. I think Keith Tippett.
Keith Tippett, the late Keith Tippett, who
Hmm.
passed away very recently. The others being Paul Dunmore, Paul Rogers and Tony Levin.
Ah.
Now, Tony Levin taught for many years at which music conservatoire?
Birmingham.
Yeah, he just got that one. Which bassist graduated from that conservatoire and now works with Nubia Garcia?
Daniel
Oh, Daniel Casimir.
Casimir.
I think that's an even Stevens between the two Alexes, one with one name and one with the other. Right. Nubia Garcia took a gap year to study with which ex-jazz messenger?
John Cizon.
Yep. And which tune credited to Sonny Rollins is the name of the country where Jean Toupin...
Erigin.
What?
Erigin.
No, where he grew up?
St. Thomas.
Yeah,
Oh.
St. Thomas. And on which Rollins album did that track originally appear?
Saxophone Colossus.
Yep. Who first recorded the tune the previous year under the title Fire Down There?
Kenny Dorham.
No.
Horace Silver.
Nearly, but not right.
Horace Parlan.
No, it's Randy Weston.
Oh, yeah.
Bass player. Hmm.
Randy Weston's composition High Fly was inspired by him listening to what?
Piano tuner.
Yep. That's a good one, I thought.
Yeah.
Which Chelsea jazz venue has an owner who has a tuning fork?
606.
Six.
Well, I think you all got that one.
Yeah.
A dead heat, that one. Which year did Steve Ruby start the club?
1983.
No.
No, 77.
Oh,
78.
79. Oh, really? 75.
No, it's the one in between, 76. No.
All right.
No way.
Which
Was that the
vocalist,
King's Road one, was it?
Yeah.
which vocalist would have been exhibiting her paintings at the 606 in May?
Trudy Kerr?
No.
Ooh.
I have no idea.
She does album covers, does bits of publicity, and she paints. And she sings.
Georgia Mancio?
No, it's Sarah Gillespie.
Ah.
Didn't know that.
Dizzy Gillespie joined the Brecker Brothers in a festival in Germany in 1980. What tune did they play?
Woody and You.
No.
Bebop.
No.
1928.
No, it's one of the Brecker Brothers standards, which they
Some skunk
re-recorded on... What?
Skunk Funk.
No.
No.
It was Strap Hanging.
Oh, wow.
On whose Blue Note album, In Pursuit of the 27th Man, did Randy Brecker appear in 1970?
Horace
Michael
Silver.
Brecker.
Horace Silver.
Yeah, Alan just pipped that. Right, so we have some good, interesting scores here. We have a tie for third place between the two Alexes.
So
We have Pete in second place with a magnificent 13, and we have Alan in a magnificent first place with 17 and a half.
Oh,
Goodness gracious me.
So thank you all for taking part. Thanks to all of you watching and subscribing to this. We've raised a considerable amount of money for cancer relief, Macmillan Cancer Relief. Please do continue to donate because it's very important at this time of COVID-19 to keep other illnesses in view. None of us are other illnesses. We are the Jazz Lockdown team and our special guest. So thanks very much to Alex Ridout for joining us.
thank you.
yeah.
What are your plans in the next few years or so, Alex? Have you got something coming up this coming year?
Can't even think right now. But well, I've just got to finish college and then hopefully do the thing you know.
Good luck with all of that. Right.
Thanks.
Thanks to our regular panellists who have a huge amount on their plates at this time of many, many gigs. So thanks very much to Pete Long,
All right.
Yeah.
to Alex Garnett,
Cheerio.
and to this episode's winner, Alyn Barnes. And from me, Alyn Shipton, goodbye.
That was Jazz Lockdown, a series of programs devised by Clark Tracy and presented by Alyn Shipton, with Pete Long, Alyn Barnes and Alex Garnett, with special guest Alex Ridout. You are invited to donate as little as £1 towards each show, which will be equally divided between contributors, with 50% of the total amount going to Macmillan Cancer Support, by following the PayPal link below. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to your company next time.